Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Business Bites, where we will be sharing another opportunity to hear insights from our corporate partners, Metro Bank. So Metro Bank are a fairly new arrival on the banking scene and are currently based in Cardiff. Kate Hancock is the local manager at the Newport Road branch, where you can conduct drive-through banking, and she is joined by Chris Hiddens, who is manager of the branch on Queen Street in Cardiff. So Chris will be explaining ways to use existing or new purchase business assets to free up cash flow for businesses to enable growth. And Kate will be covering ways to free up cash that usually gets held up in invoice payment terms. So I'd like to share this presentation with you from the Metro Bank team. If you do have any questions, please do drop those into the chat or the Q&A, and we shall make sure that we get those to the Metro Bank team, and then they can follow up with you afterwards. So I'd like to share this presentation.
Chris Hiddens, who will introduce himself in a moment, and also John Dyer, who's our resident Invoice Finance guru, and John Lloyd-Jones, who is the director. I saw John's message there about it being taken a few years ago. John Lloyd-Jones, who's the local director in Newport Road as well. So without further ado, if I hand over to Chris Hiddens.
Morning, everybody. So my name's Chris. I'm the local business manager based out of Queen Street in Cardiff. So we work really closely with Kate, who supports the Newport Road store. Just a bit of my kind of geography. So I kind of cover Cardiff city centre down towards West Wales. So anything in between. Living in Bridgend is quite handy. Not so much at the moment, but especially those face-to-face meetings and that relationship play. It's really good that we got that kind of anonymity to get out and see our customers face to face and support where we can. So I'm going to talk a little bit this morning about asset finance, and then hand over to Kate, then who'll go through our invoice finance proposition. Like Kate has mentioned, we've got John Dyer, our invoice finance specialist guru, on hand for any kind of technical queries as well. So I'll start off with our asset finance. See the lovely picture of the Tesla there, which we'll come on to in a moment. So what is asset finance? So it's often associated with the purchase of equipment or things of a similar high cost for the business. Businesses will often use asset finance when they see a need or an opportunity to grow their business, but perhaps they don't have that cash on hand. Or do you know what, they just prefer to leave that cash in the bank and spread the costs over a longer term. In some cases as well, and this is a bit of an untold secret, I suppose, not a lot of people are familiar with this, but when a business owns an asset, such as plant machinery or vehicles, they can use that to release equity. So it's not so much purchasing a new piece of kit for the business, but using the kit that they already own to release some equity, to free up some cash flow, to grow the business that way as well. Similar to if you're going to remortgage a property, to put a new kitchen in, if you want to put it in that kind of term. So typical industries that use asset finance, and this is not inclusive and definitely not the list in its entirety, but these are the ones we see more often coming across our desks. So construction and groundwork companies, engineering and manufacturing companies, get a lot of transportation and logistic companies coming to us for support, agriculture, waste recycling, and then just general company directors then, which links into that kind of Tesla, where businesses are using an opportunity to purchase EV vehicles for tax benefits. So what does a kind of typical lend look like? So ideally we're looking for a business that's been trading for a minimum of 2 years. It's not completely essential, but that's what good looks like, I suppose. A business director's report showing no failed businesses in the background, or if there are, some strong personal assets to support the lend. Typically, we'll look at wheel-based assets, that are no older than 15 years. And something that's really important to note, which is highlighted in the orange below, is the full item value is actually deductible if it qualifies for the annual investment allowance from your pre-tax profits. That's quite a strong selling point for the asset finance, because companies are using that to offset the costs of a purchase. If you need any more information on that, please let us know, and we can get some support and some information out to it for that in particular. So these are kind of assets that are fundable. You'll see there's 3 columns. So wheeled and construction, and I'm not going to go through them all word for word, but cars, construction and mining equipment, transportation and agricultural equipment. They're kind of what we class as wheeled assets. And then other hard assets as well, such as broadcast and equipment, food production, medical equipment, machinery and tools, printing, recycling, and obviously textile embroidery equipment as well. So the column in red, these are fundable assets, but at the moment, they're not something that Metro Bank is in the market for. However, if you would like to have information on this, we can support you and point you in the right direction of businesses that will look to support with asset finance for these. So telecoms, photocopiers, scaffolding, renewables, planes, trains, vehicle tracking, fertilizer and livestock. There are businesses out there who will look to support with that, but at this moment in time, Metro Bank is not in the market for those. So this is a typical example illustration. So all quotations are valid for 30 days. This is fictitious, but mirrors a deal that's been put together quite recently. So C. Hearns Limited was looking to purchase a Tesla Model S for the business. And this is a breakdown of the costs then. So we've got the equipment costs with the VAT on top that gives us a total purchase of 88,000. So that would be classed as a fixed rate tyre purchase, typically over a 4-year deal, 48 monthly payments. And there's a breakdown of the fees then, the interest rate and the 48 monthly payments at £997.94. So it's a little bit of a whistle-stop tour on asset finance. We could go into a lot more detail. If you do need any more information, please let us know and we'll get some information out to you and introduce you to the right people as well who can look to support you with the business. So I'll hand you over to Katie now, who's going to talk about anything invoice finance related, and I'll pass you over now.
Thank you, Chris. Quite interesting. I wouldn't mind a Tesla Model S myself. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm just going to go through invoice finance, a brief overview of what it is and how it can benefit you and your business. So in a nutshell, it's a facility that improves your working capital by advancing funds against your outstanding invoices before the debtor is due to pay. So why would you use it? So it removes the issues of payment terms. So as we know, to remain competitive in a lot of industries, you have to be able to offer payment terms to meet your competitors. So we know sort of 30, 60, 90 days, typical invoice terms. So invoice finance will be easier for you to predict and manage your cash flow. It allows you working capital to continue your growth plans. So it does mean that instead of you having to wait 30, 60, 90 days for your customers to pay you, we can release funds from that invoice so that you're able to continue with other projects, meet your own payment obligations, your bills, pay your employees, etc. It can also take the stress out of chasing payments that we'll go on to in a little bit. There's a few different types of invoice finance, so factoring being one of them. So as well as advancing funds to you, the lender can also provide credit control services. So this includes things like speaking with your customers, issuing them with payment reminders, or if there's any late payments, they can chase those for you. Or indeed, if you do need to take legal action against any missed payments, excuse me, we'd be able to help with that as well. This can be particularly useful for smaller businesses. So with larger businesses where they've got finance directors or specific credit controllers, for smaller businesses where maybe sort of it's yourself or there's just a few of you in your business, this will allow you to have the expertise in the area. It'll also free up your employees' time so that they can specialize in what they're there to do. The lender can also provide bad debt protection. So this insurance will obviously does what it says on the tin, so protects you against your bad debt protection. So if they don't pay you, for example. So how does it work? So a typical cycle will be that you would invoice your customers. You would then upload your invoice to the system. So in this case, the Metro Bank system. We would then create the availability of the funds for you to draw down. We would then perform the credit control duties for you, and then your debtor will then send the payment direct to Metro Bank. So another type of factoring is invoice discounting. So this is generally confidential. So the business yourselves will continue to manage your invoice and the credit control process. So your customers will never know that you're using any finance provider. This type of facility is likely to be cheaper than factoring because obviously we don't have to chase things, you would do all that yourself. However, it can be difficult for smaller companies that don't have any credit control in place to obtain this facility from the lender, because they do obviously play a less active role with your debtors, which can also increase the risk here. Again, we can offer bad debt protection insurance for invoice discounting. There's also a facility called spot factoring and selective invoice financing. At Metro Bank, we don't do that, but there are many lenders out there that will do. This is a more flexible option, but also is more expensive. So this gives you the ability to be able to choose a specific or a one-off invoice that you wish to factor or want to discount. Okay, so how does this work? So again, you would invoice your customers. You would then upload your invoice into the system, and we would make the funds available for you to draw down. Then you yourself then would manage the sales ledger and the credit control to your customers. Then the debtor will send us Metro Bank the funds, but this will go via a trust account, so that again they don't know that you're actually using a broker at all or a discounter. Okay, so invoice finance. So we in Metro Bank advance up to 90% against your outstanding invoices. We offer a fair, flexible and transparent agreement process, so there's no hidden charges. We're also very confident that you'll love us, and we only tie you into contracts for 28-day notice periods. So again, many lenders will tie you into lengthy contracts of 6, 12, 18, 24 months, etc. But with ours, it's just on a monthly basis, so you can end your agreement at any time. We also make sure that our relationship managers only have small portfolio of customers. So again, some lenders have hundreds of people on their books, and they lose sight of the businesses, what you need, you're unable to get hold of them, etc. So we make sure that our managers only have small portfolios, so that they do understand your business and that they're there for you whenever you need them. Brilliant. And I've just popped our details on there for Chris and I. So if you do have any questions, or there is something that you wish us to look at, please drop us a line. In particular, I know we've had quite a few inquiries this week on asset finance with the new registration plates coming out. So anything like that, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us.
Thanks so much for that, the guys at Metro Bank. We're really, really grateful for your insights into asset and invoice finance and ways that small businesses can use these as tools to support their businesses to keep on trading and keep on growing. So thank you very much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time, where we will be joined by another of our corporate partners. So CGI will be joining us, and we will be talking about International Women's Day. So look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.